Hello! Hi! I'm going to be talking about some things, and as I'm talking about some things, you're going to see some awesome recordings that I took last summer of fish and things. I want to do more of that sort of recording style, but I've been putting off actually posting it when I shouldn't be putting that off. Okay, I should just be like, yo, this is what I'm doing. This is the thing I went and did. Have fish. So I'm gonna yap for I don't know how long. We'll figure that part out. But anyways, hello everybody. My name is Jelly. Welcome back to the jam. And I want to talk about a lot of different things. So I have no script. Big massive disclaimer before anyone gets angry and upset. Anything I spout is opinion based. No research done. I probably should have, but I'm sitting here with 30 minutes before I gotta go to work, and I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and whenever I say I need an hour's time, it never happens, and I don't really need an hour's time to sit down and yap. So if that's your motivation to stop procrastinating the project that you want to start, I hope I'm helpful in motivating you to just sit down with whatever time you have and just start the dang thing. Because that's how the first few videos of last year was. I would sit down, I would record for hour, 30 minutes, whatever I had, right? Because I'd have that time. I'd have the longer bit of time for the recording bit. And then it'd be getting to the editing part, and I'm like, bro, my brain thinking I need 4 hours dedicated to editing instead of just breaking that up into like 30 minutes here, 15 minutes here. That wasn't the tangent I wanted to go on, but it's the tangent I went on anyways. And this could go for any project, okay? You don't need to set aside 5-6 hours to complete the thing in one go or complete a major step of it in one go, which is something I struggle with. I would do a lot of my drawings in one go, so now that I have 40-hour-a-week job, I don't have the time to just do all of my art in one go like I used to when I was in school. Speaking of how things are currently, this is the main topic. I've been struggling recently a lot with motivation, so I guess it does kind of segue into it. And a lot of it having to do with the job I currently work. And I feel like a lot of people probably have a similar sentiment where society feels like it's not the way it should be. And I'm not just talking about like politically. I'm talking about how everything is just set up. It feels very anti-human, which I guess is kind of how the system is supposed to work, quote unquote. Air quotes, big massive air quotes, right? I mean, and this is another topic I've been wanting to ramble about for a while, and I've mentioned it previously, I think. Even something as simple as a walkable city, in the United States at least, is very hard to come by. Like, the only time you will get a walkable city is most of the time in a small rural town where all of the local businesses are all clumped together in the middle, and then you've got your houses around. So if you wanted to go walk to the store, you could, because it'd be less than a mile away from your house. But if you live in like a city that's got suburbs, right, like the outskirts of a city and suburbs and all the roads kind of maze around, it's not like a perfect grid. I live in a town that is mostly grid, so I don't have the problem as much anymore. But where I used to live, if you've got any sorts of hills or elevation in your town, odds are the roads have to meander and wind around a bit, and then you got the cul-de-sacs and the dead ends and all that stuff. Trying to get out of that, if you live in a cul-de-sac, you have to drive. There's not, like, or you have to walk to some path that's, like, several blocks away, get on the path, and then the path is, like, a mile or two from a convenience store, so the prices aren't going to be your regular grocery store prices. Car-centric society, man! It sucks! It's not, it's not people-based. It's not for the humans. It's for the car, because car go vroom and car expensive. for context, I guess since I kind of jumped around it, a couple years ago, I made a purchase that has changed my outlook on public infrastructure. And the purchase was a one-wheel. If you don't know what a one-wheel is, blam! Here's a picture. Okay? It's a board, and it's got one wheel. Boom, one wheel. Super easy name, kind of self-explanatory. It is basically an electric skateboard. Your weight shifting around on it makes it go accelerate or decelerate, go fast, go vroom. Okay? The one I have particularly has about a max speed of 16 miles an hour. I use it to commute to work because I am fortunate enough to where I live within a mile's drive or walk or ride from my house. So I was like, man, this was before any of the gas prices shot up, right? This was a couple years ago, all right? And I was like, man, my car's getting kind of older. Okay, it's a 2005, 2006, something like that. So I'm like, I really want to save the mileage on my car for those bigger trips, right? Or errand running, where I need cargo space for groceries and whatnot. I don't want to be putting all these tiny miles on my car because I don't need to. Okay, when the weather's nice out, I could ride. And I'd been looking at a one wheel for a while because my brother got one when I was still living with my family. And I tried it out and I was like, man, this is kind of fun, right? It rides very similarly to a snowboard. And I used to snowboard frequently. So I was like, yeah, let me get one of these. Okay, learn how to ride it. Took me a week or two to get comfortable, and I was waiting for my helmet to come in, so safety first, kids. All right? And recently, over the past year, I have been seeing an influx of kids and adults alike using electric scooters to get around town. And I think that's really neat. The big issue with my town, and I feel like this is pretty universal across most towns of a population over 20,000. Mine is well over 20,000, but any town around that size or larger has major roadways. And the issue with the major roadways is they're kind of dangerous to cross, even if they have a crosswalk. I have witnessed people at the stoplights, not going anywhere, rear-end each other because people aren't paying attention. And that goes into another thing. Our population has boomed so much in a car-centric society where everybody needs a car to get around because you can't even go to the grocery store without a car sometimes because you don't live close enough to the grocery store. So now everybody's having to drive for everything, and there's more cars on the road, and there's older people who probably shouldn't be driving, but they have no other option because we don't have public transportation, and our cities aren't even walkable, so these people who are probably able-bodied, able to get around, or, and this is another thing that I've noticed since getting a one-wheel, sidewalks don't always have curb cuts at the corners. You would think that in the big year of 2026, that wouldn't be a problem. But the infrastructure in my town, and I'm sure it's very similar across the nation, is all of the sidewalks are very old. A lot of the drainage in my town is at the corners, so you can't really put a curb cut at the corner. Like, it's just one of those things where I'm losing my mind. This is something I have been losing my mind about. And I just needed to ramble and yap about it because this is just something I've noticed, and I really think that our tax money should be going towards things like improving public infrastructure and making places that we live human friendly, because busy intersections aren't always safe to cross, even with the crosswalk going, because no one's paying attention half the time to if a pedestrian is crossing a road that's 4 to 6 lanes in width. It's just annoying. And then I travel sometimes, right? And one of my more major trips was to London a couple years ago with my grandmother. We like to go on trips every once in a while. They're pretty fun. And in London, the intersections within the city, and I had been to New York previously, so I've had America big city experience, and now I've had a European-ish big city experience, and how they handle crosswalks. I just want to say, London, you've got something figured out, and I'm sure a lot of other cities in Europe have something similar. So basically, to those who've not experienced such a thing as an intersection in another country, how they have it set up is the cars will go straight, and then they'll have car go straight in another direction. Very quick cycles, by the way. Like, these cycles are maybe 10, 15 seconds. And then both directions of traffic stop. Both of them. And then pedestrians can cross wherever they want for about 15 to 30 seconds. It's so efficient. You're not standing there at the thing waiting forever. You're standing there for maybe 10, 15 seconds, 30 seconds max, waiting for the cars to be done. And then when the cars are done, it's time for the people. That's efficiency. And that's crazy. And I think, now it also works because those intersections are only 2 lanes wide. Because they don't have major intersections in the middle of the city. Like, you wouldn't do that in downtown, right? And they do have their major motorways and whatnot. But I just found that fascinating. I was like, wow. New York didn't have that. And more recently, I went to Atlanta for FWA. They don't have that, because most major cities in the U.S., even on those 2-lane roads, it's wait for a car to go one direction. While cars going one direction, people cross that direction. Then you gotta stop, and then you gotta go the other direction, which is like, okay, fine, whatever. But sometimes you have to cross diagonally. So you have to cross the street one way, and then when you get to the other side, you gotta cross it the other way. Instead of just pausing all traffic and letting people cut across diagonal if they need to. So yeah, that's been the big thing on my mind for the past couple of years. So basically, when I got my one wheel, I was like, oh my god. Oh, and another thing related. I mentioned able-bodied people being able to walk, right? And I was gonna segue into this, but then I was like, wait, there's context I need to add. Dude, context is freaking important. Okay. Anyways, curb cuts. We're gonna go back to this one. I live in a town that is relatively old, so there's a lot of areas in the town that have sidewalks from the 50s or the 60s or something, and then you've got sidewalks from the 70s, and then you got sidewalks from the 80s, and ones that are more recent from the 2000s and whatnot, and the 2010s, you know, stuff like that. So you've got a large variety of sidewalk styles and how things are done, and usually in the US, the sidewalk in front of your house is the homeowner's responsibility. There is a house on my street that still does not have a sidewalk. My guess is when they went and put in the sidewalks down my road, it was up to the homeowners to opt into it. Or whatever, right? So it was just kind of the thing to do, put a sidewalk in front of your house, because it makes traversing the neighborhood easier for people who would like to walk. Or for the mailman, because they don't always just ride their truck around. At least in my neighborhood, they tend to park it at a corner and then take their mail bag out and then walk down the road and then walk back on the other side and then get back in their thing and go to the next block, right? Because we don't have mailboxes out by the street. They're up on the houses. So, there's all these different styles of sidewalk. And when I first got my one wheel, I was like, okay, I want to stick to the sidewalks because cars are scary and I'm not as confident on my board as I am now. So I'm like, I would like to avoid being in traffic. Thank you very much. And then I came to the realization when I got to the end of a sidewalk, oh, there's no ramp here. There's no little convenient get off of sidewalk, go into road. No, there's a drop. And then there's a drain. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm riding in the street now. Great. So then I got to thinking, I have the option to get off of my wheels. I have the option to step off of the sidewalk, readjust, and then we're chilling. There's an entire population of people where getting up and down a curb is extremely difficult. if not impossible, because I do know there are a few members of my community who are in motorized wheelchairs, and I don't think those handle curbs very well. So then I got to think, I was like, man,
I have no idea if I turn my camera on the next 15 minutes.
that's not right. Because I do know that there's some elderly people in the neighborhood that I ride through. And I'm like, sometimes I'll see them out walking. And some of them use walkers. And I'm like, dang, you're probably confined to your block. Unless you want to go walk around in the street. And there are some people who prefer to walk in the street because the sidewalks are so inconsistent. And they're so old, and a lot of people have trees in their front yards. So the roots are making the sidewalks so terrible to walk or ride anything with wheels down. The first thing I did was I tried looking up government things to be like, is there a way I can, like, voice my complaint, you know? Because I work, and finding time to, like, actually go to the courthouse and be like, hey, yo, who do I get into contact to, like, do something about this? Or do a petition, or I don't know. I'm tired. I'm an introvert. I don't like talking to people. But it is also, like, something I care about a lot. And I want to do more research into it. And I guess part of this video, this yapping, was to start a conversation about it. So if there's anyone who is watching or listening to me ramble, and you know sort of a process to approach this, that would be great to hear about. It really would. Because I do want to kind of get more involved in my community, because right now all I do is I work and I go home, which I feel like a lot of people do. And I'm just so tired of hearing a bunch of negative stuff about stuff in politics that it feels like I can't control or I can't do anything to influence. So then I've been like, well, what's something more local I can try to do? Because what the guy in the White House says, funny enough, doesn't really affect local communities very much. Like, it does on the broader scale, but your local day-to-day life, it probably doesn't affect too much unless the people who govern your specific town really like listening to what the guy in the White House has to say. Then it probably will. Okay, I'm not going to dismiss that. He does have power in some way, right? But the place that really has the power is your local government. Okay? That's kind of the point of this video, is because I've been stuck in this whole doom and gloom spiral of, oh my god, they keep making things worse, and then every once in a while I'll wake up and be like, hey, how much is this really affecting me directly? Like, yeah, it'll eventually affect me, probably, because, like, the gas prices are the way that they are right now, right? So their decisions do affect some of my stuff directly. But I think we should also be focusing our attention towards our local government. You know, start from the bottom up, which a lot of people have been trying to say. I'm just saying. If you're not happy with what's going on up there, look around you. See if there's a little problem that you can maybe advocate for. For me, it's sidewalks. Yeah. But I do want to look into it a little bit more. I'm just so goddamn busy because I've got a bazillion hobbies. Anyways, thank you for listening to me ramble. That's the beginning of this discussion. I would like to make an actual structured video at some point where I do thorough research. I just wanted to rant about the things that have been bugging me. And maybe start a discussion and, I don't know, learn something from the comments, because you guys are pretty good at providing some pretty neat information. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the fish. Yes, the footage in the background I took, and I plan on recording more this summer now that it's nice out. I just, well, I guess it's springtime, but it's nice out. Yeah, I like fish. Anyways, thank you for watching. Bye-bye!